So I got an interesting question for you, Tay, because that was something that popped up on my Instagram algorithm
You always
recently.
got an interesting question. Go ahead. What's the interesting question?
Listen, I've been asking people interesting questions all week. Like, do stairs go up or down?
Stairs go up and down depending on which direction depending on your direction.
No, that's you going up and down. Do stairs go up and down?
No, the stairs are stationary. It depends on where you are.
Is a hot dog a taco or a sandwich?
It is neither. It is a fucking hot dog.
What are we doing? Is that what we're doing right now? Why are we here?
Came here to say who won it from the jump. Came here to get exactly what you want. Came here to say that you don't really want it with us. Yeah, we live, you know. We came here to say that you don't really want it with us. Yeah, the sports show.
Okay.
Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? Peter, being ooping.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 167
You know,
of the
waste my
Yerrr
damn
Sports
time
Show.
asking me these damn questions.
I'm just saying though. If an electrician, if an electrician's kid gets in trouble, can he be grounded?
Yes, he can.
You gotta relax. You gotta relax. Like, why are we doing these marijuana questions?
I don't know. These are drug questions for sure.
Dude, I don't smoke weed that often.
Surgery just stabbing
But let me
someone's
tell you
life?
something. If I had smoked and P had asked me them questions, all I would have done is laugh. I mean, I don't know. You see, I'm a smart girl, but I don't do things like riddles and puzzles and all stuff like that. Like that activates the something deep in my soul that irritates the shit out of me, bro.
Why?
Like Sudokus, right? Like Sudokus. It pisses me off.
No, yeah, I do a little stuff. I don't know. I feel like people just be asking shit just to ask shit. Like, you know what I want to know? When are we going to have equal rights in the United States? I want to know the answer to that one. I really also want to understand, right? Why on earth is Brett Favre speaking at anybody's political campaign ever after that motherfucker stole all the millions of dollars from them welfare people in motherfucking Mississippi? Can somebody answer that for me, please?
So here's a question I need answered, but Shanice went off on this a couple days ago.
You gotta answer Tate's question though. You know that, right?
Because this man is trying to avoid getting screwed over. Tell me how Eric Adams is now all about being Trump's best friend.
No, because he knows he's gonna get part. He knows what it is. He knows what time it is. You get what I'm saying? You know what time it is.
How do we get here?
We took a left. We took a left.
The same way we always get here, just by pressing record.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your engagement pictures though? Like how you was looking like you wanted to do some things, and there was some pictures, right, that you look completely lost. Thank God, Shanice is a star. Because some pictures I didn't know if it was like your yearbook photo for school. But there was one picture in particular that you saw the genuine love between you guys, and I just want to say congratulations on your engagement once again.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very interesting.
I have to announce that I too am engaged.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
I too am engaged.
We're not gonna sit here.
Breaking news.
We're not gonna sit here and lie on this platform.
Breaking news. Hold on.
We're gonna fucking sit here and lie now.
No.
I too am betrothed.
To whoever's grandpa with his AARP check signed up for that.
I worked more than fucking AARP. But I like to announce I am engaged. I'm engaged.
Engaged to the
engaged to who? The Black Captain America?
Yes.
Nobody likes Falcon, bro.
He's not Falcon anymore. He's Captain America.
Captain America doesn't have wings.
I just don't understand how you guys gonna overshadow my moment right now.
Because you're lying.
Okay, but you didn't even let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead, Coochie Kinte.
Oh my God. That I'm engaged to criminal activities.
Hence the Hence the Daphne costume. Got it. Understood.
We looking for ghosts and making roasts.
You're not looking for ghosts, sweetheart.
What is our niece dressed up as for Halloween?
She's Velma, and my sister is Shaggy Doo.
Who's Scrappy Doo?
And y'all are in the midst.
We were trying to find. We ain't find out one Scooby all night to join us in the picture. I was really annoyed. I have 4 Halloween costumes this year.
We know.
We know.
Now we know. You see, y'all not finna play me on my show tonight.
We saw it. Like,
I sent y'all pictures, and the ones that I like the most, you guys don't make no comments on.
I'm
legit in a prison, so I see it when I see it.
Whatever. I'm not gonna take it that you're flirting with me.
I personally loved Heel Goldust.
That was Killmonger.
That was Heel Goldust.
You gave us two. You gave us 2 options, so you know the options we was going to choose.
Yeah.
Like,
when I first put it on, I'm like, do I look like Goldust? If I would have had the blonde wig, it would have been over.
Oh yeah, yes. If you had a blonde wig.
Yeah, it would have been a dusty day, bro.
All right,
dusty day,
back on track.
Speaking about dusty days, though, the Bronx is full of a lot of really upset fans right now. As the Yankees.
Went to the World Series.
The Yankees went to the World Series and went home in 5 games.
Yankees At least they didn't get swept.
Yes, they did.
This is true.
Technically, they did.
They call it gentleman's sweep. It's a gentleman's
sweep. But let me tell you something, though. To go from, like, didn't they miss the playoffs last year? Or they didn't really do much last year to go to
they missed the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, to go to the World Series this year is a big accomplishment. Now, we always have champagne hopes and caviar dreams and all that stuff when it comes to the Yankees. But let's be honest with you guys. Like, they played terrible the entire playoffs. Yeah. Apart from a couple of hero plays from Giancarlo Stanton, you get what I'm saying, in Soto and a few others, they played like kind of mediocre almost the whole playoffs. They benefited off the other team's mistakes more than them really showing that they can hang with the big dogs. Like, once the Dodgers came around, I knew they were in trouble.
Bro, they look like their price tag, bro. The Dodgers 100% look like they're their Dodgers. Like their price tag.
They look like a championship team. So, although I'm disappointed, although I am upset because this is the first time I watched the World Series in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
It was all right. I mean, I was happy that they at least made it to the dance. But I'm tired. Yo, the night that they lost, like when they lost Game 3, that was the first time in history all teams from one city lost the game.
Yeah. Nah, but Game 3 was the clear indication. Like, yeah, they don't belong in this series. Like, it looked bad. They got romped, and it looked painfully obvious.
Yeah, they got washed.
It looked painfully obvious that they weren't going to win this series.
And that walk-off grand slam by Freddie Freeman in Game 1, to me, I think deflated them completely.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Freddie Freeman, who did win World Series MVP. I believe became only the second player in history to homer in the first 4 games of a World Series. He also became the second player in history besides, I forget his name, it's a Houston Astro, off the top of my head, to homer in 6 straight World Series appearances. Going back all the way to the last time the Dodgers were in the World Series. The Dodgers winning the World Series again. The Dodgers were the clear favorite all year. They were considered to be the number 1 team going into the season. As Tay said, positives, right? Yankees in the top 1%. There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Only 2 can make it to the World Series, 1 from each league. They were the number 1 team in the American League making it to the World Series. Yeah, that was great. Anthony Volpe made some great strides this year. The trade for Jazz Chisholm, right? He looks like a good piece. Looks like somebody they can keep. You know, obviously another monster statistical season from Aaron Judge, and we got some good things from the pitching squad, right? We saw Luis Gil showed up for the first half of the season, kept us in this race. Garrett Cole came back, and outside of a couple of shaky starts, had a really, really good Garrett Cole-esque season. But let's just be very honest about this, right? Aaron Judge disappeared in this play.
100%.
And when you get paid the amount of money that Aaron Judge is getting paid, when you wear that C on your chest, the idea of it is that you turn it on when the lights are the brightest. And I hate everybody does it, right? But like Jeter turned it on when the lights were the brightest, right? All of these players, Mo, Pettit, even guys who weren't the captains, right? They turn it on when the lights are the brightest. We talk this all the time about like LeBron and Steph and Kobe and all of them. They hit a different gear in the playoffs. And Aaron Judge hit a different gear, but it was a different gear that was like 12 steps below. The man looked lost this entire playoffs, outside of the home run in the Cleveland series and then the RBI hit in game 4. There's a lot of work the Yankees need to do. And I think that's the stark reality that needs to be accepted, right? Like, congratulations, you made the World Series. Congratulations, you didn't get swept. But there was a very clear difference between when the Mets played the Dodgers and when the Yankees played the Dodgers. And I'm a Yankee fan that's saying this. The reason why the Mets, even though they lost in 6 games, the reason why the Mets gave the Dodgers so much trouble is because the Mets didn't depend on swinging for the fences and the home run ball being their main source of run production. They strung together hits. They strung together long at-bats. They tired out their pitchers, and they made them make mistakes, and they capitalized on the mistakes. In fact, there was a game that the Mets won, I think it was 12-5 against the Los Angeles Dodgers, where the Mets only hit 1 home run and scored 12 runs and hit 1 2-run home run, and that was it in that game. Scored 10 runs without hitting a home run. That's the big difference. The Yankees' biggest kryptonite this year was runners in scoring position. They left a lot of men in scoring position, including, like, I'm not talking second and third, 2 out, first and second, 2 out. I'm talking about there were times, even in this playoffs, the Yankees had the bases loaded with 1 out and didn't score a run. They had first and second with nobody out and couldn't score a run. And of course, you're going into an offseason with big questions. Are you going to be able to re-sign Soto? What's Garrett Cole going to do? And then even if you do keep both of those players, how do you fill the holes around them? I think there's a lot of reality-based questions that need to be answered in the Bronx. And I don't think the answers to one of those questions is firing Aaron Judge.
So I basically said what you said about the Yankees being the literal name, the Bronx Bombers. I said that how many years ago when it was me, you, and Joakim on here on the episode. I said that. And the Yankees have continued to be just straight bombers. And it doesn't help them that they don't have players that are utility players. They don't have players that are going to get them singles, doubles, triples. Jazz Chisholm is the closest thing they have, right? And Jazz Chisholm, if we were talking about the Mets, is basically their Jose Reyes, right? Where Jose Reyes wasn't exactly a deep bomb hitter. He can go yard, but he's going to get to the bases most of the time. He's going to steal most of the bases, as Jazz Chisholm did. And they don't have any more people like that. They don't have enough people on the team like that. And if the Yankees don't retool this offseason and stop going for straight up power and get more skill, we're going to have a repeat of not this year, but the year prior, where the bats just don't work. And that's pretty much it.
I still think that this is considered a successful year for them, given the fact that they still made it to the dance. I mean, I hate using at least language because, like, the expectations are always going to be sky high for the Yankees, right? But just like Dre was saying, like when it all boils down to it, right? Um, when you don't have utility players, you put yourself in a feast or famine type of situation. Now, they haven't been feasting all playoffs long. They capitalized off of other teams' mistakes more than their benefits. And Judge, we have to hold Judge accountable too. Judge did not show up until last night. And then showed up and then, you know, caused a costly play that changed the dynamic of the whole game. So, that's kind of on Judge.
On a 5-0 lead, pissing me the fuck off. That's just how I look at it. They blew five. They blew a 5-0 lead, and just at home. That's what made it even more like hurtful. I guess I don't know. I think, like Tay said, at least they made it there. I don't think that they were like. We all knew the Dodgers were the heavy favorites going into the season, and even into the playoffs, and even into the World Series. So it goes without saying that the best team won the World Series. It just sucks to be a New York fan, and here's the Liberty bring a championship home finally, and the Yankees haven't been able to bring a championship home since '09. So I mean, got it. I mean, I don't know how to. I don't know how. I don't want to be that New York fan where it's like it's all or nothing. We got something. We got the Liberty that won a championship. So, I mean, I can't be too mad. And again, we knew the Dodgers were the favorite. So it's not like any of us on this panel right now is shocked. We're not. It just sucks. You were expecting a better World Series. And Game 3 honestly just showed us that, yeah, the Yankees don't even belong in this series right now. Because like Pete said, the Mets put up more of a fight than the Yankees did.
That's 100% correct.
So,
but the Mets were a scary team all throughout the playoffs too. We were giving them their flowers before they were eliminated.
Mm-hmm. I think about the Mets. The Mets were basically in the playoffs, or playing playoff level games since before the season was over, and they continued that all the way through until they got eliminated. You just ran into the Dodgers. What can you say? But as you previously stated, we don't want to give no moral victories, and accountability has to, the team has to be held accountable. Aaron Boone shouldn't be fired, but his performance should be looked at in certain decisions that he made. I think that Judge needs to step up. He needs to be held accountable the same way we would have held Jeter accountable, right? Because he's the face of the city right now in terms of baseball. It's Aaron Judge. Juan Soto came in. That is basically Robin plus, but for the most part, we're looking at Batman and why Batman didn't produce. And it's really that simple. I don't see the Yankees.
Speaking of Soto, are they going to be able to resign him?
That's the big question right now. And, I think there's a lot of people that want them to re-sign Soto. I mean, I know I would love to do it. But again, we're also talking about a Yankee team that isn't the same. I mean, listen, in the 90s, in the early 2000s, in the late 80s, George Steinbrenner threw money at problems, right? He was like, oh, this is our problem? Cool. What do we have to spend to fix it? Let's spend it. Let's fix it. And that didn't always work. But the Yankees had two advantages. The Yankees were willing to spend the most money and buy their way out of any problem, or they had the veneer and the shine of we're the New York Yankees, and especially in the late 90s and early 2000s when they were in the middle of their run, when they had just won 4 titles in 5 years, like even in those early 2000 years, people still wanted to play for the Yankees because there was that expectation every year. The Yankees are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to make the World Series. They have a possibility of winning the World Series every year. In 2024, neither of those things are true anymore. The Yankees, while they still are a legacy franchise, and there's still people who will say, listen, I will, it is a career moment for me to wear the pinstripes. There is no longer an expectation that the Yankees are the dominant, top team in the league anymore. So there's no real expectation of I can go here and win a championship. Secondly, Hal Steinbrenner is very unlike his father in the fact that he wants his profit margins to be a lot wider, right? And the Yankees were never in the red. The Yankees never not turned a profit, but Hal Steinbrenner is more in the business of using the Yankees to make money rather than having to spend money to win championships, which is in direct contrast to what George did. And you have a lot of Yankee fans who still think that the way that George handled things was the way to do it. And there are a lot of people who are like, well, George would just give Soto whatever he wants and then go out and still spend money. The Yankees have made it very clear that if they're able to re-sign Soto for the numbers that they believe Soto's going to need, they're likely not going to spend a lot of money elsewhere. So now you have the Yankees once again trying to put Band-Aids on gaping holes just to re-sign Soto. But at the same time, if the Yankees don't re-sign Soto, there are a lot of Yankee fans who are going to come for their neck. Who are going to be very pissed off.
Especially if he goes to the Dodgers. Because there's rumors that they're trying to get him.
The big rumor is the Mets.
The Mets is probably more likely than the Dodgers.
Yeah, that big rumor is the Mets are going to try to get him. He'd be a great addition for the Mets, especially if they do lose Pete Alonso. If they keep Pete Alonso, adding Juan Soto to a lineup that already has Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Francisco. Oh my God, I'm forgetting their catcher's name. But you have all these different players that are already that they're there, good pieces, and adding Soto to that, still very, very young, would be a good thing. The Yankees, they met a juggernaut in the World Series, and they were no longer a juggernaut. I would have rather them have gotten swept because winning that fourth game and then coming out of the gate and having a 5-0 lead and then losing it the way that they did is just why did we do this?
There's no reason.
I wrecked that whole unit. I was that upset. I'm so serious I was.
I remember I was coming home and it was 5-0, and I was like, yes, I can't wait to get home, sit on my couch. By the time I got upstairs and sat on my couch, and I turned on the TV, and it was 5-5. I was like,
same.
The Bronx is on fire at that point.
Yeah. I thought I was going good.
Shit.
You ever had them moments where it's like you not watching, so you feel like and they're up and they're winning, so you feel like the best thing to do is not to watch because you feel like if you start watching, jinxing them. That's what the fuck happened. That's exactly what happened. I had to turn it off. I started watching. It was 5-5. I said, okay.
He was like, no. I remember after watching the first game, I was like, yeah, the Yankees are not winning. I said that, and I laughed because I was in the middle watching some NBA games, and I was like, you know what, the Yankees are on. Let me cut on and watch.
We got two big five.
As soon as they walked Mookie Betts, I was like, uh-oh. And when Freddie Freeman got up there, I was like, oh no.
I don't know how they just kept pitching to that boy. Just stop.
I was like, oh no. Like Freddie Freeman should have walked the rest of the series, bro.
That man had a Barry Bonds-esque World Series.
Yeah.
Just pissed me off, bro. I think what fucked all of us up is we felt like New York was going to have a Disney ending this year. Because the Liberty one, we thought, honestly, we were going to have a Disney ending. We was going to have 2 parades in the month span. That's what we had in our head.
Goddamn, I let New York get me again. I knew it. I knew it. I let the city get me again. But I do want to transition from that over to the actual Liberty, to where the Liberty did win their championship, the first championship in their 28-year history.
Talk about almost letting us down at overtime.
Man,
oh my God,
man, I got off the train. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell you my trip, right? I was on the train. I take the G train home, right? I got off the train. I looked. I was like, yeah, I want to get off the train so I can watch the Liberty celebration, right? I'm watching the fourth quarter. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. I kid you. It took me forever to get home just sitting and waiting for the Liberty to close that game out.
Bro, they were
Someone
down,
said it was Spike Lee's fault. Someone said it was Spike Lee's fault. He brought the spirit of the Knicks.
They were down by like 15, I believe, right?
And they were down by 15. They were down by 15 points.
I was pissed. I'm like, yo, not again, bro. Not again. Fucking New York, not again, bro. Look like a kid.
Wait, hold on. Queen, I have a question. I have a question for you, right? What was the atmosphere like at Barclays Center at the last Liberty game you went to?
Amazing.
Like
amazing.
Now we gotta watch Ben Simmons play.
It was rocking. Let me tell you something. I had a gut feeling the Liberty were gonna pull it off. They had me on the edge of my seat, and I did not like it. I did not like it because I was sitting there nervous, like, oh my God, are they gonna blow this? And that was a weak ass call. And let me tell you something, they got lucky because
yes, they did.
Because oh my goodness, that was definitely a non-call on Stu. Yeah. That was not a call.
Yeah, that wasn't a foul.
Stu got lucky.
I ain't mad at all.
The first time she fouled and missed both free throws, you get what I'm saying? I was like, oh my God.
She was not going to be safe.
Facts. And then Ionescu had a horrible game.
Bro, couldn't hit water in a boat. She's talking off, bro.
That was like Steph Curry that one game in the finals, and he just shot terrible. I was like, well,
yo, she shot 1 for 19 and 1 of 10 from 3-point land.
Stewie was shooting.
That was a John Starks game too. Yeah, I'll try to not give her that, but yeah, it was a John Starks game.
Stewie wasn't shooting well either. Both of them they both were playing trash.
Yo,
the others got it going. Yeah, thank God for
crazy.
her.
Shout out to John Quell Jones.
Oh man, John Quell Jones, man. Let me tell you something. Shout out to their defense. Their defense kept them in the game. Because if they were relying on their damn offense, it was a tough day at the office.
Boy,
it was cringe. And they both had good looks too. They knew they had to. What makes me upset is that players are now just relying on the foul and not just trying to will themselves back into the game. You know, it's like, you know what, draw the foul. And the coach told them to draw the foul. Before the like that's what
yo, that was crazy. It's like, just force the foul. I was looking at the screen. I was looking at my phone like, excuse me? The ref's about to not call the foul now. Watch.
And then the ref called. Thank God he did.
Yo, Adam Silver was like, listen, do y'all want your jobs, right? Clearly, they wanted their jobs.
But to add on to what you were saying, like, just the atmosphere of the Liberty game in Barclays, just like let's table the Liberty in Minnesota for a minute and just say the atmosphere of the WNBA as a whole this season, this playoffs. It was crazy. It was a movement. It was a wave, and it just makes you look forward to next year and hope that it just gets bigger. Like it was like, yo, I had my whole unit watching a WNBA playoff, like the playoff series, and it's just like they were all invested in it. That's a thing. That was good. And then, like I said, aside from me being a New York fan and almost getting a heart attack because they were down 15, and Stewie and Sabrina couldn't hit water in the boat, it was still a good series. It was a hard fought series. there was so many moments within that series that just makes you a bigger fan of the WNBA.
Of course.
Like it was just amazing to watch.
If we're being fair, analysts, the Lynx got cheated, right?
Look,
we're gonna be fair. If we're gonna be fair, the Lynx got cheated because the Lynx played the best basketball they could play.
They definitely did. 100%.
They played the best basketball they can play, and they played as good as the Maya Moore Lynx when they won their 4 championships. So, shout out to the Lynx. They played the best game that they can play, and they are going to be the problem coming next year because, like when the Aces lost and they came for blood, best believe the Lynx are, if they keep the whole unit together, they are coming for blood.
And the big story this offseason is now also going to be the Connecticut Sun losing coach Stephanie White, who is expected to go back to Indiana, the team she formerly coached, and join up with Caitlin Clark and coach the Indiana Fever. And if Stephanie White can that Connecticut Sun brand of basketball to Indiana, I mean, listen, you're gonna be hearing a lot more about Caitlin Clark next year.
And bring Dejanay with her.
Bring Dejanay I'm just saying, shout out
Indiana.
Shout out to Spoon. Shout out to Spoon. She got to witness. They won it for her. Shout out to Spoon. Even though Chicago is a bunch of never mind. I'm not gonna do that.
The WNBA have just real quick on the W. They have 6 openings. A lot of openings actually. 7 teams made a lot coaching decisions. A couple of them made GM and upper management decisions. So the league is going to look mighty different in different ways. I enjoyed the WNBA this year. The playoffs was amazing. I'm glad and when I say this, it's no disrespect to Caitlin Clark. But I'm saying I'm glad the stigma of people are only watching the WNBA for Caitlin Clark was thrown out the window after she left the playoffs. Because yes, they had one game, a couple games that were down when Caitlin Clark got eliminated. But for the most part, this was the most watched WNBA playoffs of all time. The highest rated WNBA finals of all time, right? So shout outs to the women doing it up big, right? Shout outs to them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the WNBA season I was more invested in WNBA basketball this year than I have been in a long time. Mm-hmm. Talk about as much as you want, about how, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, hey, they got people to want to watch the W. I don't care why you watched it, but you got people who are watching. And they did a fantastic job this year. They were great. And, you're not hearing the same kind of like rookie chatter coming into next year. But I'm interested to see how Angel Reese develops in year 2. I'm interested to see how Caitlin Clark develops in year 2. We might be seeing the first season in 20 years with no Diana Taurasi.
Yeah.
The WNBA and the WNBA has a great foundation for its future. I mean, listen, it's not just you also got Camila Cardozo, you have Angel Reese, you have Caitlin Clark, you have Cameron Brink, who got hurt this year and was out for most of the year. You still got Kelsey Plum. You still got a bunch of players in this league that demand your attention.
Yeah, and they got me and Dre's attention. We still waiting for one of them WNBA players to fly us out.
I'm waiting to get flew out. Because what me and Matt was talking about was currently confirmed by a WNBA player. The WNBA players be flying men's out. So
fly me out.
Hey,
y'all need to stop. Y'all both need.
Let me out, bro. I'm with it.
Both of y'all
talking to shit. What did Frank Sinatra say? Fly me to the moon.
With
You get mad. I'm out.
Yeah. You do that.
Speaking about the Basketball Association, the NBA season underway. Still very, very early. 5 games of the season. I know Matt very happy that his Golden State Warriors are 4-1. You have the Thunder.
I don't know how.
Without light-skinned Jesus, right? That's crazy. Right?
Yeah, bro, that's just nuts.
Buddy
Hill could pick up though, right?
Yeah, told you.
You didn't tell me. You had to tell me. I knew it was.
I told Stu. Stu was like, I don't know how that's going to work. I'm like, are you serious? All they do is shoot. What are you talking about? How you figure that's not going to work? But okay, that's just your world.
Oklahoma City right now, the only undefeated team in the Western Conference at 4-0.
Are you surprised?
Incredible game, by the way, between them and the Spurs. Chet Holmgren versus Wemby.
Holmgren owned Wemby, bro. Wemby couldn't do nothing with him, bro. Not a damn thing. He couldn't do a damn thing with Chet, bro.
That's one bad white boy.
Yeah.
Cavs are 5-0, y'all.
Cavs are 5-0. Cavs are 5-0, including a win over the Knicks. Let's talk about the Boston Celtics as well. Absolutely washed the Knicks opening night. Knicks are 2-2.
God damn.
That's crazy, man. You like a whole week late. You had to throw that up there.
They washed. That wash was a bad wash.
Yeah, it was. But shit. Bro, I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know what Steve Kerr said to fucking Jason Tatum, but he pissed that man off. He pissed him off.
My question is, which version of the Knicks is more real to you? The version that got washed by the Boston Celtics on opening night, or the version of the Knicks that had Karl Anthony Towns drop 44 on the Miami Heat?
Damn. Yeah. We only lost by 7.
They got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to say it's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
The team that the Knicks, the team that the Celtics blew out, and the team we just saw beat Miami, it's a mixture of both because New York basketball is the same. It is you get excited about it, they get blown out, they get trash, and then they make a magical run and make everybody believe again.
No, they know tips, make adjustments, and they learn from that shit. Usually what it goes.
New York basketball.
Shout out to Deuce.
Deuce is playing well. The Knicks are playing well. Yeah. They will continue to play well. Once Cat continues to be Cat, they'll be well. But I think the Knicks also need another center.
They're back at center, Jericho Sims. I mean, they lost to Boston, beat Indiana, lost to Cleveland, beat Miami. Their next game the next 3 games, Detroit, Houston, Atlanta, should be some easy wins there. Their next
Detroit and Atlanta for sure.
Yeah,
actually, watch out for Detroit.
Their next big test is probably next Friday against Milwaukee.
Yeah. But hold on, you mentioned dog teams though. The first 4 games they play are dog teams. You gotta add levity to that. Like Boston just won a championship. Indiana eliminated them last year. Miami, we all know what Jimmy Buckets is like. You know what I'm saying? So it's like dog teams. These are teams that are going to be formidable in the East. Cleveland is a year late to the party, but we knew they were going to be this good. Like
they're always late though. Like they're always late, and they're always quiet.
What we have been expecting Cleveland to be last season, they're now showing us. So maybe it was the whole storyline on whether or not Donovan Mitchell was going to resign or he was going to book it to New York or Miami. Maybe that was holding them back. I don't know. And on top of that, he was injured. What the fuck is his name? I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. The fucking guard. What is his
name? Garland?
Yeah, Garland. Darius Garland. He was
Garland,
also like iffy and in and out of like rotations. It was like he was trying to find himself too with Donovan Mitchell now being on that team. So I mean, it's fairly. We're seeing what we were supposed to see last season. Now they just don't got no storylines holding them back, and they're healthy. So, are we shocked that Cleveland's 5-0? No. You think it's gonna last? Hell no. So I mean, it's like I do see them as like a top 3 team in the East, though.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get right, ain't gonna be right, and ain't expecting much. But they're gonna make the playoffs, and they're gonna be hard to beat.
And Knicks right now, one of about 4 2-2 teams in the East: Miami, Washington, Charlotte, all 2-2, and the Hawks and Indiana and Brooklyn Nets at 2-3. I do want to ask about kind of the bottom of this league, though, and especially in the Eastern Conference. Who's more surprising at 1-3, Milwaukee or Philly?
Neither. Neither. I ain't gonna lie to you. Neither. Doc Rivers is not a good coach. I could wait for us to mention Doc Rivers. Oh my God, I cannot wait to mention Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is not a good coach, right? We started, and I will also, Matt. My apologies about Giannis. I'm gonna say this, right? What? Giannis Antetokounmpo is not the player that I've been thinking he is, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. I know every NBA player has this thing where, you know, certain things have to be in place for them to play better, right? And I get your brother is not there. I understand your brother is not with you.
What?
That is no excuse why you're letting your team around you, you can't will your team to victory because your brother's not there. Like, tell me what I'm.
Don't tell me he used that as an excuse. He better not use that shit as an excuse.
He's not using it as an excuse. He's not using that excuse. But former NBA players and NBA analysts can tell the difference of how confident he is when Thanasis is around compared to Thanasis not being around. And also, Doc Rivers is not a good coach. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Man, fuck Tallahassee, Antetokounmpo, whatever the fuck his name is. How you tear your Achilles on the bench? You're a bum. Stop doing this shit, Dre. Stop being nice. He's a fucking bum. He's a whole bum.
I'm talking about Giannis. I'm not talking about Thanasis. Thanasis, we all know
Giannis is overrated. I've been telling people that for the longest. Nobody wanted to listen. Everybody said I was a hater because he eliminated Brooklyn. Look, you just lucky that fucking Kyrie Irving got hurt. Because if he didn't get hurt, you motherfuckers would have never won the damn championship. Let's be clear. That's real shit. That really happened. Sick of you. Fucking Giannis is the best player in the fucking league. Get the fuck out of here. No, he's not.
Dre, we did it already. Look, he found a way. Finally,
it's fine
to mention Kyrie Irving already.
Just saying, bro. It's the fucking truth. If he would never fucked his ankle up, none of y'all motherfuckers would have been jacking fucking Giannis.
It's okay. It's okay. Queen.
I'm sick of this shit.
To what Peter asks, who's more surprising? 1-3, the Philly or the Bucks?
The Bucks. Philly is trash.
Yeah. I ain't got no argument. I ain't got no rebuttal for that. I ain't got no rebuttal for that at all.
Philly is trash, though.
Philly is trash. Let's talk about the team hat that I'm wearing, right? Just because it matches the Yerrr Sports Show Wu-Tang shirt that's available on the low because we're not trying to get sued. But let's talk about the Lakers. I'm gonna wear it Friday.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
wear Friday. I'm about to say We Are Wrestling made this shirt, y'all.
Shit.
The Lakers. JJ Redick is actually a decent head coach, as we can see.
Shoot the damn ball.
I told y'all.
The damn ball.
I told y'all. I called it.
That to me was one of the best things I've ever seen. That man yelling at LeBron to shoot the damn ball.
Who would have thought?
I would have thought. He ain't ass. He ain't fucking afraid of LeBron. That's what I've been trying to tell people. These coaches be fucking terrified of LeBron, so they don't tell him shit. Sometimes you gotta tell him, like, yo, shut the fuck up and shoot the ball. Stop passing the fucking ball. Take the ball to the rack. Why are you shooting? Who's stopping you? Who? You are a fucking freight train. Who's stopping you, bro? Why are you shooting, bro?
My man is 75 years old and just got a triple-double.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Collect the Social Security checks and triple-doubles. That's what he do.
Yeah.
Don't say Social Security checks too loud. Tay might be like, what? Who? What?
Says the guy who's getting married, and because she wants your Social Security check.
Damn.
Nah, just my health insurance. Health insurance.
That was wild. He ain't got no rebuttal for that. That was a good one, though.
Zero rebuttal. You can't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's over that.
Damn.
I don't got Social Security.
Yo.
Yes. Yes.
But you know when you do got that teacher's pension.
Now let me tell you something. Why would a woman like me, with an ass like mine, and a personality that I have, try to just aid for people with Social Security checks? You know how much Social Security pay? No, I said older wealthy men, not older regular men. Imagine me dating somebody who makes less money than my father. Imagine that's never gonna happen.
Less money than your father is wild.
Why are we here? I don't want to.
Why would I date somebody? Why would I date somebody older than my daddy, calling him daddy?
Why would you call anybody daddy?
Also, because I call my father daddy.
That's there's a weird thing I've noticed in church as well. There's a lot of like older black people in my church.
Oh, you making comments about black? All right.
No,
hear what you gotta say.
That called Jesus daddy, and I'm like, that's just very weird.
That is weird. That's unhinged, actually.
That's very unhinged.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, the father, your father, fine, but daddy, like they're like, listen, you have to pray to your daddy, and I'm like, excuse me, are we still talking about Jesus here?
Right. Another team that I was interested in, because we need to get far off that topic, is the Dallas Mavericks. With the introduction of Klay Thompson, opening up the court for Kyrie and Luka. Pete, what did you think initially of the Klay going to the Mavericks, and how has it worked for them so far?
I thought Klay has always been a complementary piece to bigger stars. And having Kyrie and Luka there is going to help him, because you have two guys who can handle the ball, who can shoot. And Klay has always been great as a set-up spot shooter, right? Get him open, driving kick, wide open three. And the problem in Golden State became he was looked at as a main guy alongside Steph. He couldn't fade into the background as much as he needed to. Because Klay is one of those silent assassins that's going to drop 30 on you without you realizing he's dropping 30. Right? And that's what I think has really helped him in Dallas. He's not going to be looked at as the number one option. He's not even going to be looked at as the number two option. He is looked at as kind of now that, your job is to be a shooter. Your job is to be the sharpshooter. Your job is to sit there and get the points and do this. And I think it's very, very helpful when you're looking at them at 3-1. It allows for less to be on Luka, less to be on Kyrie right now. When you really look at this, Clay is third on the team with 16.5 points per game, and averaging a little under 30 minutes a game versus PJ Washington averaged almost 32, Kyrie 35, Luka 37.
Yeah.
And then, you're going to need to kind of like lower that down for him as the year goes on. The man needed to do what he needed to do. At the end of the day, he needed to go and forge his own path. It's weird to not see him in a Golden State uniform, though. It really is. But
Queen,
I don't hate
it. You what?
I don't hate it.
Queen? All right. So, what is the next topic, Peter? I believe we're on to football, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we are on to we are on to football, which right now, as we record this episode, the Jets, the pitiful Jets, are facing the 6-2 Houston Texans live on Amazon Prime. Listen, it is a very, very tough season right now for us. But right now, Buffalo leading the AFC East at 6-2. Pittsburgh top the AFC North at 6-2. Houston 6-2. Kansas City 7-0, the only undefeated team in football right now. Washington Commanders, best team in the NFC East at 6-2. Detroit is 6-1. Green Bay right behind them at 6-2. The Falcons are 5-3. I'm just surprised to see anybody in the NFC South have a winning record nowadays. And no team above 500 in the NFC West, with the Cardinals, Niners, and Seahawks all tied at 4-4. So let's go to the big question. Minnesota Vikings had been 5-0. They've reached only 2-game losing streak, now at 5-2, leaving the Kansas City Chiefs as the only undefeated team in football. Pulling up the Kansas City Chiefs schedule here very quickly. Their upcoming game this week is against Tampa Bay. Then they play Denver, Buffalo, Carolina, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Browns, the Texans, the Steelers, and then the Denver Broncos to end the season. What is the likelihood, percentage-wise, for you, Dre and Queen, that the Kansas City Chiefs go undefeated?
I think it's a 60% chance at this point. They're going to run into a challenge at some point. I mean, they've been playing really well, better than expectations, just to be honest. But, an undefeated season doesn't spell all that success, as we've seen over the past few years. You get to say no team has gone undefeated and won a Super Bowl.
Except for one.
I mean, I'm talking about recently. I said recent years. Because we've had a lot of teams go on a wild stretch of undefeated. We had the Steelers a couple of years ago. We had the Eagles a couple of years ago, going 9-0 and 10-0. And the next thing you know, they look ass when the playoffs come around. While I don't think that fate awaits the Kansas City Chiefs, I do think that they are a championship caliber team. You get what I'm saying? They've gotten better than I anticipated. Not gonna even lie. I didn't see them doing that well as they're doing now. But the true test comes in the next couple of weeks if the sustainability is there.
Dre, what do you think?
I'll say like 30%, and I'm going to tell you why. The Chiefs are a playoff team, right? They're not a regular season team. They're a playoff team. As good as they're playing in the regular season, their problem is going to turn into the team is going to be too occupied with winning every game instead of winning the games that they are supposed to win and saving themselves for the playoffs. We've seen it happen. So it happened to the Patriots. The Patriots is the most recent example. You go crazy, undefeated during the regular season, undefeated in the playoffs, get to the big game, and you lose. That pressure is mounting on them, and I think they're either going to – I can tell you, they can quite possibly lose to the Bills. They can lose to the Texans. They can lose to the Steelers. These are games that's all very much have a high likelihood of losing. But Patrick Mahomes and the referees they seem to pull one out the hat every time. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's a low 30% for me. But if they find a way to do it, are they going to be able to win the Super Bowl? Is the pressure of running the gauntlet going to be too much for them? And then they just got DeAndre Hopkins. We're like, come on.
Yeah, they played Denver in 2 weeks. Sunday, November 10th. Denver is 5-3, right behind them in the AFC West. But then when you also look at it, they have Buffalo. So they have 2 winning teams back-to-back weeks. Then they play Carolina, Vegas, the Chargers. The Chargers are winning right now. They're 4-3, but that could change. Cleveland has a losing record. And then they play Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver to end the season. I think those last 3 weeks are the big weeks. But then again, they could be gearing up for that playoff run. They could be gearing up to do some damage. The biggest issue that I have is they have not really won their games by large margins. The biggest margin of victory for them all year so far is 10 points. And that was 2 weeks ago.
13.
At San Francisco. Was it there? No.
13 versus the Saints.
Oh, yeah. 13 versus the Saints, 26-13. But you beat Baltimore by 7. You beat Cincinnati by 1. You beat Atlanta by 5. You beat the Chargers by 7. Touchdown. You beat San Francisco by 10, and you beat Vegas by a touchdown. You've had one game where you've had a rusher go over 100 yards. And, you've had 4 different leading receivers in 7 games. With Rashee Rice having 103 in week 1, 110 in week 3, and then J.J. Smith-Schuster having 130 against New Orleans. But Mahomes is also, this 291, 151, 217, 245, 331 against New Orleans, 154, and then 262. And this team is... You got DeAndre Hopkins because your offense looks terrible.
It sure does.
But speaking about terrible-looking offenses, is it just me? Or when you get Lamar Jackson more weapons, the worse he looks? Because all I heard this year was, they got him a running back. They got Derrick Henry. Now he doesn't have to do too much. He can just throw the ball. You got Mark Andrews coming back. You had the kid from the playoffs who started showing out, Zay Flowers. You've got all these players now. You still got Rashad Bateman. You still got Nelson Aguilar, and yet the Ravens are 5-3 and just lost to the formerly 1-6 Cleveland Browns. What is going on with the Baltimore Ravens?
From what I can see is the fact that Lamar Jackson is still not using all of his weapons. I feel like Lamar Jackson is still playing hero ball on some games and also depending on Mark Andrews. I also feel like the defense isn't playing up to par either, but I still have to turn it back around on Lamar Jackson. These are winnable games. The Browns, you should have demolished. You had Jameis Winston looking like the second coming of Russell Wilson, the way he was praying to God and everything was being completed.
My man was on his Tim Tebow flow.
I just want to know what you guys think about Russell Wilson right now. I think it's time for us really.
Well, Matt's not here.
Where's Matt? Because he still ain't answered my question from before. I'm personally offended that he didn't answer my question from before. I had that question about a couple weeks ago, and I still ain't here to answer yet. I don't need the answer I'm looking for. At this point, I just need a motherfucking answer. Because, baby, what I said.
Listen, you called it. You called it. I was a non-believer because I'm like, damn, they benched that young man who was Justin Fields, he was holding it down. And I was looking at the coach like it's a little crazy right here. But I believe in you, Tomlin.
Let me tell you something. You can't cut out Tomlin ever. Tomlin knows what he's doing. That's the difference. The thing is, at the end of the day, I know I rag on Aaron Rodgers all the time, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, too, these are veteran quarterbacks, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. You got to give them their flowers and their respect while they're still on the field. You get what I'm saying? I feel like if you have Aaron Rodgers at the helm of being your QB1, you give him that respect come hella high water until he's ready to hang it up. No matter how I feel about it. You get what I'm saying? And I do feel when you line it up, the only difference between them two is that Aaron Rodgers got 7,000 MVPs. Like that's the only real difference. When the tail of the tape comes down, they both won one ring. So I feel like if Russell is healthy, you get what I'm saying? It's not detrimental to the team. The team is winning, or at least close to winning. You give the veterans their flowers. That's how I feel. Legends. Not just veterans, legends. Because when it's all said and done, Russell Wilson is going to be considered a legend.
He's going in the hall, for sure.
Yes, for sure. As is Rodgers. For sure. Just being completely honest. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't like some of the antics with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't like it. I do feel like he's slightly overrated. I'm just gonna give my honest opinion. I never said that Russell Wilson was the best quarterback in the league. I never said that, but Russell Wilson 10 years ago was something to herald. And you can't take that away. You get what I'm saying? Because the Seahawks were a dangerous team, offense and defense. Defense was better, yes. Offense was great too. Same with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Like, as of right now, you get what I'm saying? The Jets are abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are abysmal. And you don't know if it's coaching. You don't know if it's weapons. You don't know what it is. But I know the couple of years, Aaron Rodgers wasn't looking that good either. And it's just not the right system. But I want to hear what Matt ignored my questions about it. And I really wanted to know his thoughts on this. I was genuinely intrigued by his lack of silence. Matt shuts up about nothing, but he shut up in that moment.
I said I can't.
But I do want to temper this, right? Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson started the last two games, threw for 264 yards and then 278 yards. They won by large margins, but let's also look at who they played. They played the Jets and the Giants in back-to-back.
Yeah, but when you look at the Chiefs, and to me, I don't think they had any impressive wins for real either.
No, they haven't. They haven't. I mean,
you get what I'm saying? So if we're going by that, right? I feel like the Baltimore, if you really want to be technical, like when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, they've had a harder schedule. And they've been doing pretty okay with a harder schedule. So does that make them a better team?
No,
they are a battle-tested team. You get what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, like, I still think that Russell Wilson. But the Giants have no offense, but the Giants are good on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real.
I would say let's give it 2 more weeks.
Is a beast.
Yeah, let's give it 2 more weeks with Russell, and here's why.
I'm not giving it 2 more weeks of a
So here's why.
goddamn thing.
Justin,
No.
For Russell Wilson?
here's why. Justin Fields started.
Yeah.
Justin Fields started 6 games. He started the first 6 games, and he played Atlanta, Denver, LA, the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Raiders. Of those 6 games, 4 of those teams currently have a winning record. 2 of those teams, one of those teams is in first place in their division. Denver's in second. Dallas was in second. Vegas is right behind them there in their division as well. So he played some very good teams, and the 2 games that he lost were by 3 points, 27-24 to Indy, which is when Joe Flacco saved the game, and Fields threw for 312 yards in that game, by the way, and then 3 points to Dallas, 20-17. Wilson has started 2 games and has looked fantastic, but has also played the Jets and the Giants. The reason why I say let's give it 2
You still keep saying that he played the Jets and the Giants.
2 teams that I do not think are I would not take. I would take Atlanta, Denver, the Chargers.
Atlanta's doing really well.
Right,
let's be real here. Atlanta's been doing really. You can't put Atlanta in the same category as the Jets and the Giants at all, because at the end, and to be honest with you, Giants defense. The only reason why the Giants are losing games is their offense. Their defense is pretty solid. They have studs on defense. Their offense is trash under the leadership of Daniel Jones. That is the problem.
And I would say that the Jets' offense is trash as well, and their defense has underperformed compared to where their defense should have been and where it was last year. The reason why I said to give Russell Wilson 2 more weeks is because Russell Wilson, not this week, but next week, is going to play Washington, who's the number 1 team in the NFC East and has been having a fantastic year. And then they play Baltimore November 17th. I think those are the 2 games. If we're really talking about Russell Wilson having this revitalization year, if we really want to look at Russell Wilson under the microscope, I think we have to see how that game against the Commanders, win or loss, just his performance, win or loss, and against Baltimore turn out.
No, any league that still has Joe Flacco suiting up. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, any league that has Joe Flacco suiting up, we don't got to compare him to a motherfucking thing. I want to compare him to the other quarterbacks with his same age, with his same years, playing at this level with the same 2 games. That's what I want to look at. I want to look at Aaron Rodgers in 2 years. In 2 games. I don't think that that's a fair comparison, honestly, and I don't think that says anything. You get what I mean? I don't think it does. What it says.
You mentioned the GOAT, Joe Flacco.
Well, so in that game that the Steelers lost 27-24, they were leading, by the way. They were losing 17-3 going into halftime. Joe Flacco had come in off the bench for Anthony Richardson, who got injured. Went 16 for 26 for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it is 2024. It is November of 2024, and I am here to tell you that Joe Flacco is once again a full-time starting quarterback in the NFL, as the Indianapolis Colts announced this week that they will be benching Anthony Richardson and starting Joe Flacco moving forward as their starting quarterback.
I take back everything I said about Joe Flacco. I ain't gonna lie. Before these years prior, Joe Flacco is that's the man right there, bro.
By the way, in the games that Joe Flacco played before Richardson came back from his injury, he beat Pittsburgh 27-24, threw for 168 yards, beat Tennessee 2017, threw for 189 yards, and then lost by 3 points to Jacksonville, 37-34, but threw for 359 yards.
That man right there. That's a bad man right there. Y'all should never got rid of Joe Flacco. I'm just gonna let y'all know, bro.
Well, 2 former Jet quarterbacks about to meet up this week, as Joe Flacco will take the Indianapolis Colts to Sunday Night Football. That's right, Sunday night against the Sam Darnold-led Minnesota Vikings, who are on a 2-game losing streak. They lost 31-29 to the Lions and 30-20 to the Rams in their last 2 games. Sam Darnold, though, still looks really, really good. Even in those 2 losses, threw for 259 yards against Detroit and 240 yards against the Los Angeles Rams. 259, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, while throwing 22 for 27 against the Lions. And then against the Rams, went and 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18 for 25. Sam Darnold, if he's not in contention for MVP, definitely has to be voted. It's between him and Joe Flacco for comeback player of the year.
Why would Joe Flacco get an award that he wins every year?
Right.
Should we rename player of the year the Joe Flacco award?
The Joe Flacco award, yeah. Got to be the Joe Flacco award at this point.
I think it's Joe Flacco, Sam Darnold, and Russell Wilson right now for comeback player of the year, especially after the year that Russell had last year with Denver.
Let the Pittsburgh Steelers get into the playoffs. People
they do it. They have a winning record every year. Mike Tomlin.
People are going to be pissed because, people weren't expecting much from Russell Wilson, and if he gets to the playoffs, the Steelers, the way they are playing now, and the way Mike Tomlin will continue having them play, it is going to be bad. And the way Mike Tomlin coaches, he will find a way to continue to keep Justin Fields involved in the offense there. And that Steelers team is going to be scary. Not 11-0 scary and fumbling the bag scary, but a more focused team scary. So we'll see.
Talking about a young quarterback,
You always want to talk about something.
Are the 6-2 Washington Commanders for real?
No. I don't think the Commanders are for real. I think the NFC East, again, is the weakest division, one of the weakest divisions in the league. I think that it is a tough thing to it's as real as the 8-0 whatever Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, interestingly enough, Tay,
Kansas City referees.
Their hardest game remaining on their schedule is the Steelers.
Yeah, but like Matt said, he's not here. A dog shines, or the sunlight shines on a dog ass twice a day.
So if, let's say,
yes,
I look at 2 games on this schedule for the Commanders remaining: the game against the Steelers on the 10th of November, and the game against the Falcons at the end of December 29th. Let's say they lose those 2 games and they win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more games. So let's say they go 13-4 and they win the NFC East.
They're gonna win the NFC East, man. Every other team in the NFC East is abysmal. The Cowboys are trash. The Giants are trash. The Eagles are trash. They're gonna win. They're the odds-on favorites to win the NFC East. They've already gone leaps and bounds ahead of the other teams. So that's not even comparing them to any other team in the NFC East is like it doesn't even. It's apples and oranges at this point. They're the heavy favorites. Every other team in the NFC East is struggling bad. Not just regular struggling. They're big struggling. Big time struggling. Big time. I think this is the worst that the entire division has looked in a long time. And just to be honest, and they've looked bad before.
Yeah.
But the Eagles was always close. The Cowboys, everybody always, talks about them. They ain't doing shit. They doing exactly what I thought they'd do. I think they're performing better than I thought they would, actually.
But I think my question today was going to be,
what is your question, Pete?
If the Commanders are 13-4,
okay,
what kind of faith would you have? The same faith you would have in them in the playoffs with another 13-4 team?
No, we already know what the only other team I could really see dethroning the damn Chiefs is the Ravens if they get it together. And people are forgetting that the Lions are looking crazy too.
Yep.
Yep.
Lions are 6-1, and by the way, just blew out a team 44 to something, and only their quarterback threw for 85 yards.
Yeah, so they're looking amazing as well. There's been I feel like there's been more level competition this year. There's
Green
been
Bay
more teams looking amazing. There's been more teams looking great. The Bills look good. The Ravens look good. Bills look good. Ravens look good. Texans look good. Falcons look good.
Packers.
Commanders look good. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's some heavy competition this year. The Lions look great. So, like, it's hard to say. It's me. It's hard to say that I have a big faith in the 13-4 Commanders. It's hard to say that. Now, if it was a 13-4 Falcons, yes. If it's a 13-4 Ravens, no. It depends on the team too, because a 13-4 Ravens and a 13-4 Commanders are two totally different 13-4s. You know who gives you like a 13-4, 12-5 type of situation? The Bills, and they always shit the bed.
This is very true. 3-team race in the NFC North. Who do you got your money on? Lions, Packers, Vikings.
Lions.
Dre?
Razzle dazzle pick. I'm going to say the Vikings. Well, and then just like that, the Vikings next week will deteriorate.
Let's not do that. But I am glad that Tay brought up the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, I can't get enough of seeing Kirk Cousins lead yet another game. This man took the Commanders, who were nothing, made them into something. Took the Vikings, who were nothing at the time, turned them into something. And now he's doing it to the Atlanta Falcons.
Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, Kirk
Cousins going to the Hall of Fame.
You know what's funny? I just want to touch on the NFC one more time. The Eagles are 5-2, but their 5-2 looks exactly like the Chiefs 7-0. It does not look good at all. It does not look good.
That's the most terrible look 5-2 I've ever seen.
Right. Again, we go back to this all the time when we're comparing teams.
For some reason, I've had no idea they were 5-2. I thought they were 2-5.
The way they playing, I wouldn't blame you because I thought the same thing. If I didn't look at the standings right now, I'd be like, whoa. I think I don't know I think Sirianni is losing the Eagles right now for the most part. He's losing that locker. And that is not a good thing. And then along with the Philly faithful, you don't want to lose the fans in Philly either. Those games will be a lot tougher at home as they are. They'll be tougher at home than it would be away playing in Philly. But there was one more team that I saw that I wanted to talk about. These damn Dolphins, right? We're damn Dolphins. Tua aside, should Tua play football again? Like at all?
I mean, he didn't play too bad last week. I don't play with concussions. You know, that's something like at the end of the day, there's a life beyond football that you got to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the bigger issue when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa. Kid threw for 234 yards, hard luck, 1-point loss to the Arizona Cardinals last week. And they really needed him back because in the 4 weeks where he wasn't starting, they looked very bad. They scored a combined 35 points across 4 games with him out. But 234 yards in that game didn't look bad. He looked like he got some good reads on the field. Trying to pull up his stats from that game. 28 for 38, 234, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, was only sacked once, which I think that's the key thing. I mean, this is a man that's, you know, who I go back to when I'm seeing what Tua Tagovailoa is. I go back to what David Carr went through in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I don't know how David Carr doesn't have like long-lasting, brain damage from the amount of hits and hard hits he took as the quarterback of the Houston Texans. And I'm glad that he's not going through any of those issues. But Tua, he also doesn't seem like he wants to change his playing style either. And I think this was, I forget who it was. Who was the quarterback? It was a couple of years ago. Was it? Yeah, who was it? They told him he needed to change the way that he slid.
It was Jalen Hurts, I think.
That it was like you have to change the way that he slides. He kept sliding in a way that was going to cause not only him to get hurt, but him to fumble the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they've told Tua, you've got to do things differently, and he doesn't want to. And I feel like that's the biggest problem.
He needs to wear that angel helmet.
Not we good. Let's not do that.
I feel like he needs to wear that angel helmet. Oh, one last thing. What did y'all think about Joey Bosa? Okay, cool. I don't got to say much. Queen. Yeah, Joey.
I couldn't hear anything you said.
What do you? Okay. What are your thoughts on Joey Bosa? What are your thoughts on Joey Bosa?
No comment.
Cool.
This was my comment, Tay. This was my comment right here.
No, let me. Nick, was it Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa?
I'm sorry, Nick Bosa. What did everybody? It was one of them Bosas. Sure both of them.
Let me tell you something. I think that was very unprofessional. Mm-hmm. I thought that it was messy. I thought it was cowardly. Not gonna hold you, regardless of your political affiliations, right? Mm-hmm. I don't ever, like I said, like I never want to tell anybody to shut up and play. Like you're mm-hmm. entitled to your own political views, and I think that's the quote unquote beauty of America, right? Mm-hmm. But you really want to get technical? There's somebody who took a knee a few years ago, mm-hmm. and peaceful protest. Mm-hmm. And has never laced up shoes again. And you know another thing too is just it's such an unfortunate symptom of how aggressive American politics have become. It's become almost like Team Jacob versus Team Edward in Twilight type of levels of weird fandom. It's not even about the politics anymore. You get what I'm saying? And I believe that we have really crossed an unfortunate line when it comes to this country and politics as a whole. And I just thought it was gross. I am not even going to hold you. I feel like you have an unfortunate bias that people on one side of the aisle has to be peaceful, has to protest the right way. You can't do it that way. You can't do it this way. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be too left. You don't want to be too extreme. And then you have people on another side of the aisle who were doing like bozo stuff like that. That was a bozo move. I ain't gonna hold you. That was a bozo move. It was a bozo move. It was.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And you know, I'm not here to shit on anybody's political beliefs. That's not what I'm here for. You get what I'm saying? It's very rare, very few, because I've been kind of reflecting a lot about this past election cycle and just how toxic and exhausting and disgusting it's been. And to play into that way, I hope the 49ers lose every game they play from here on out. I'm sorry. I'm just really, And I would feel the same way if it was done on the. But you see one side of the aisle being almost like heckling and
Mhm.
trolling and throwing their political opinions in your face. It's like, yeah, I'm this and there's nothing you could do about it. It's my right. It's my this. It's my that. And then
Right.
the same day, someone gets on a rally and calls Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Like, do we really want to be on the wrong side of history here? Like, I'm just like, that's when I start getting like into my political rabbit hole, right?
Mhm.
L- th- Like, really, for real, this is where we are, and you have Kaepernick, who never played again for a peaceful protest, and there were people calling for his life for kneeling. So
Insane.
that's all I'm gonna say about that. But are we on the right? And people are like, oh well, I care about the economy. It's so much deeper than the economy. It's so much like I I really don't want to say what you guys know I'm gonna say, what you guys
Yeah.
know how I feel, and I don't
Yeah.
have to say it, Pete. I don't have to say it, Dre, but you know where I'm going with this. You
Yep.
get what I'm saying? But it's disgusting. It's gross.
Hmm.
And I believe that people they should hold him to the same standard that they held everybody else.
I agree. I
I
definitely
think,
agree.
listen, it is your right to vote how you want. It is your vote to believe. It is your right to believe what you want. It is your right to, whether that's politically, socially, economically, religiously. It is your right, and I will fight to the end of my days for you to have the right to do that.
Hmm.
It is also my right to disagree with you, as it is your right to disagree with me, and it is also my right to punch you in the face when you say something that incites violence, that triggers me into a space of not feeling safe. And that's my issue. My big issue is not who you're voting for, right? Like, listen, you want to vote for Donald Trump, go right ahead. You want to vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., go
You
right
know
ahead.
what? You know what? It is a problem. I'm sorry, but go ahead, Pete. I'm sorry. We're not there. This is not McCain Obama. This is
Right.
not Romney Ryan versus Obama. This is bad. I feel triggered. To be honest with you, I'm so emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted from this. This is exhausting. This is exhausting. And you know what? It's been a real issue for me is that, and like you said, feeling unsafe.
Yeah.
That.
You get what I'm saying? They feel like it's an attack on them because they support like their candidate. So they feel like their ideals of support is questioned. I feel like my life is on the line, fam. You hearing about these women trying to get abortions for for life sparing reasons, and they're getting denied at the gate and dying. But that's okay. But that's okay. But you want to cry like a bitch because you can't spread your bigotry? Like, it's making me look at people really weird, man. It's making me look at people really weird. And it finally took people up until now to finally be like, well, maybe that's not the right course, the right way to go. And I'm holding our own people accountable too.
As
Because
you
there was
should.
a lot of nonsense happening on TikTok over the summer when they thought it was fun and games. It's all fun and games until they come after you. It was okay when it was women. It was okay when it was black women. It was okay when it was Jews. It was okay when it was Palestinians. But now that they're targeting you, it's a problem. I don't like that. Now, if we only kept everything about the economy, I could see why people would feel the way they felt. But none of the reasons why people say that they support their candidate is for reasons of economy. We in scary times, fam, and I don't like to be a fearmonger. I don't live my life that way, but I look at people real different this time.
And I agree with you 100%, Say, because like I said, it's like, listen, the reason why I started my sentence the way I started is like, listen, if you want to vote for this man, that's your right, right? I don't think it's right to do. And again, my issue has been it's not just a political conversation, right? It becomes something where it's now, okay, cool. You want to sit here? Listen, I am a registered Democrat. I have voted democratically on major presidential elections ever since I've had the right to, I've met the age limit to vote. There was a time when I thought about voting Republican for president. And that was when John Kasich was still in the running for the Republican nomination in the last election cycle with Hillary Clinton, the one where Donald Trump won his first election. And I said, if it's John Kasich versus Hillary Clinton, based on the political facts, I'd vote Republican for the presidential election because I felt he was a better candidate on political lines. But this has no longer become political. This is now about, as you said, fear-mongering, hate-mongering. This has become about the health and safety of individuals, right? We want to sit here and talk about economics? Fine. There are probably some good economic systems that we can talk about on the other side. You want to talk about having an issue with the way that immigration is handled in this country and has been handled over the last 4 years? Fine. I probably agree with you on some of those things. I'll also be the first person to sit there and say, maybe we should make the immigration system for legal immigration a lot more accessible and a lot less convoluted for people so that it didn't feel like illegal immigration was the only way to go. Right. But we don't want to talk about that. Right. But the problem is when you have people like my fiance who says, I want to have children, but I'm scared to bring children into this world because of what the world is right now, because of what the world might be in 2 years, 3 years, because God forbid something happens and I need a health-related abortion or something happens and it's a situation and I can't receive health care. It becomes a problem when Black and brown people in this country cannot feel like they cannot live in certain states. It's giving pre-Civil War. It's giving the Confederacy and the Union, where I don't feel safe living in a specific place because of the certain demographics. Oh, I can't live in Western Pennsylvania because it's very red and my blue ass might get shot. Oh, I can't live here, or I can't fly an American flag outside of my home because people are going to look at it and think that it means something because people in this country have co-opted the American flag to mean something completely negative. And so now if I hang an American flag outside my house, people are going to be like, oh, you must be MAGA. You must be a patriot. And that's what this means. No, it just means that I am proud to live in a country that was built on certain ideals that I understand that necessarily aren't being upheld right now, but I believe in the original vision for what America was supposed to be.
No, I don't, because my people were still slaves when they were when they were making the plans.
Well, understand,
right? I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, the reason why I can talk politically about politics too is because I studied this in the master's level. You get what I'm saying? So I look at it very differently than most people would. You know, I look at it from an analytical point of view and not just an emotional point of view. You get what I'm saying? The emotional side of me is just like, look, this is really scary times. How could you not want equality and this, that, and the third? But then you're arguing with people who never had to learn about equality. Equality never bothered them. So it's just you know, like I said, they have the privilege to just worry about the economy. They have the privilege to worry about certain things, and it's not like fear mongering. It's just facts. It's just facts. Period. And it's just scary times. And I think Nick Bosa is an idiot. And if he really stood tall for what he believed in, he would have done it on a better platform.
He would have got invited to the Republican National Convention.
Right. So it's scary. It's scary. I'm like, really, America?
Mm-hmm.
As Tavia said, I am keeping a very close eye and noticing all this hotepery that is happening with people.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better.
And it's like, yo,
better than the first time around the sun, for sure.
Yeah, but there are people out here that I'm just like, you know what? As Tavia said, there are people where I'm just like, oh, really? Cool. Like, thank you for letting me know that I should no longer support you.
Exactly.
Thank you for letting me know that I should no longer like be a fan of
you. Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy, right? And I'm with this. I have friends on the other side. I have friends on the Republican side, real good friends and I think that one of the things that people should also understand, so we got to be transparent. Not everybody who is Republican supports Donald Trump and his policies.
Not a Republican issue.
It's not a Republican issue. This is a basic human rights issue at this point. And the final thing to say, everybody go out and vote. And if for whatever reason you decide to not vote, do not fix your mouth to complain about anything that goes on in this country if you didn't decide that you wanted to help make change on either side. I'm not pushing anybody towards any side. Whatever you do is your right as a citizen of the country. But whatever happens, and you decided not to vote, you decided not to make your voice heard, do not be one of those people who complains about whichever way the result goes. Don't. So, with that being said, Pete, November 8th, big show coming up. Big show coming up. I am in the main event.
Tay, did you know this?
No, I don't follow that. I don't follow that sport at all. Sorry, y'all.
This man over here decided to put himself in a ladder match.
You're gonna be wrestling?
I am.
In a ladder match.
Bro, you doing too much.
I'm doing enough.
Yeah.
I'm more than enough. And I have work the next day.
I am tired. I'm tired. I've been up since 5.
I got you. For the voice of a generation, Pete Rosado. For the Queen Tay. For BK Matt. It is your boy, the Wise Brothers, signing off. Peace.